Probably helpful unmuting my mic. I have my actual camera on for once. And my controller's disconnected. You know, good start. Good start. We are exactly where we were before. Save states are wonderful. I'm going to use this little guy. Little Mega Drive controller. 28-bit though. I quite like. And let's try and remember where we were. We beat the first dungeon. So we got fire seeds. So we can go and light the dude that was trying to read. We can go light his little lantern things. And then other than that, I'm not really sure. I don't remember. We'll go talk to the tree again. Tree will probably tell us where to go. Well, we can do this now. Quick piece. Piece of heart. Forget your heart container. That's the Zelda game, alright. Where the hell's this guy's house? Oh, we can go that way now. That's probably useful. Where was the dude reading books? This was the people with the kid that we called Efrat. Little baby Efrat. I think fireworks on these. No. Well, we'll do something else, get rid of those mushrooms. Continue the shop. We can buy hearts. Okay, we can't go. Members card. What's back there is a secret. We'll get a members card at some point, I'm sure. You have owl stones. No. I'll teach you. Owl stones are mystic statues that give advice when a certain seed is placed on them. That's pretty useful. As I said, the village are filled with monsters. That's true. Yeah. There's also a Zelda 1 reference. Dangerous to go alone. The mayor's place is up here. Oh hey, this grew. What's inside it? I got a ring! Okay, so that's how it works. You plant seeds and then you open it up and it's basically like a... Oh! I was gonna say it's like a gachapon. It's a gacha, not like a gacha. I get it. I get it. It's a loose reference, but it's a reference. Yeah, okay. Let's go talk to them about it, because we did do it. Actually, we have a couple of rings that we can go get appraised. We can also blow up this wall now. Plant seeds. Yeah, we did that. We do have a spare one. I think you have to use different places. I wonder if it's where you plant it. It must be where you plant it that decides what you get. I'm shocked that he had a seed in here. With robbing this guy. Literally the mayor. Oh, we can reuse it. Will we get something different? Is it random? I need to look up how that works. It wasn't just the cloth guy, right? I'm really confused as to where this guy was. There was a guy who was reading books. It's not this one, because this is the birds. He was reading books and he couldn't see. Well, I'm sure we'll find it at some point. Let's go talk to the tree, I guess? I love the music in this game. Yep. Can't do anything here. Oh yeah, we wanted to praise the rings as well. Praise my rings. Oh, I think I've only gone off for one because it's like 20, right? Discovery ring. Sense soft earth nearby. That's handy, I guess. I think we can wear 2 rings, right? No, we can only wear 1. The friendship ring doesn't seem to do anything though, so we might just take that off. Let's see. If I search Orc of Seasons, friendship ring, does it actually do anything? It has no effect when worn. Great. That's a useful ring. Well, let's wear the other one then. We need to get out of the box. I forgot about this. Hi. I want to move things. Swap that with... Oh my god. This one. Yeah, I know. Oh jeez. Right. Never got that. Now we can tell when there's soil nearby. Oh wait, I actually think I know where the guy is. I'm an idiot. He's down here. This guy, right? This is the guy. Splendid, I can finally focus. Take this cuckoo dog. Cuckoo decks? Cuckoo decks. The book about cuckoos. So this is the first of the trading items, I'm pretty sure. I don't know how we trade it to, but I guess at some point someone's going to be like, I need a book about birds, please. Please do a cuckoo. Oh, I will not. No. We'll figure that out when we get to it. It's the result of many years of cuckoo research. And then, since he was nice enough to give us a thing, let's blow up this wall.
Hey, you're my best friend! You're my best friend!
Hey everybody!
Okay, I love him!
Thank you, Mick, for the raid. Protozoa. I know I have multiple versions of Proto that I go under, but I don't think Protozoa is one of them. I might need to make it one. I'm gonna go ahead and guess this was an autocorrect thing. Okay, we can't do anything here. We come back in winter, we'll be able to get through this. Yeah, I kinda... that makes sense. But hey, welcome. How did the super bosses go? I watched up until... the first... I watched up... How much did I watch? I watched up till after he beat Shinryu, actually, so I just didn't watch the X-Death stuff. I was fighting X-Death again. Oh, this guy just gave me a bunch of money. That's nice of him. Many on... Oh, right, with Jonathan. That happens. I'm not gonna hold it against them, it's, you know... Oh, nice. I mean, that was kind of the point, right? It was meant to be a victory lap. It would have been unfortunate if the opposite had happened and you'd struggled for a bit. It would have been funny, but it would have been unfortunate. Green holy ring. No damage from electricity. That seems good. I haven't really seen anything electric yet, but that seems like a thing that will be useful at some point, so I may as well take it. Swap this. Yeah, season's going good. I haven't, oh, that was the friendship ring, I just took it again, wasn't it? I'm an idiot. I only just kind of started, so I've just been appraising rings, and I'll show it in a second actually. I got the first of the trading, like these games have like, most Zelda games used to have this, they somewhat still do, but there's like a big trading quest where it's like, you know, you get one thing, trade it to someone else, and then they give you another thing to trade to someone else, and blah blah, and at the end of it you'll get like, I don't know, a cool sword or a cool weapon or a nice shield or something like that. I got the first one of those. So we have the Cuckoo Decks, the book about cuckoos. So at some point we'll find someone to give this to. I actually don't know who to give it to. But I assume they will make themselves known. Did I put that ring on? Didn't. God. You can only go down to the ring thing from here. Like this row on the left, otherwise it just goes... That's silly. Oh. I'm also not 100% sure where to go next, but we can burn these trees down and go that way. Well, this guy's going to tell us. Wandering Prophet. Four spirits are calling you. The Temple of Seasons is still hidden in this world. If you can find the temple, then pay a visit to the spirits who live there. Surely they can help. Cool. I'm gonna go talk to the tree first though. Since we're here. It seems kind of rude that that's the way you have to wake him up. Okay. So we do need to go find the Temple of Seasons. Oh, I'll take a look at those. I'll have some good autocorrects. Let's see. Yeah, that's pretty good. It's an unfortunate series of, could have been worse. But unfortunate nonetheless. I want to see if I can make it, oh, I was about to say I want to see if I can make it winter in here, but, we did it first try, so that's good. I'm gonna grab these. I guess these grow in winter. But now that's frozen over, so we can go get whatever's in that chest. Unless coming out of here changes the season, in which case I'll be slightly annoyed. Okay, doesn't. More rubies. Not bad. So now we have these fire seeds and bombs. So we can go into a few other places. Okay, that's the Song of Storms, right? Go up here. Hey, it's that guy. Go around, go around. I could just oil it, it would go around more quickly. Okay, well, I'm sure we're going to get oil at some point. Oh, don't set on fire. I think that's not a good solution. Not all of your problems in life can be solved with fire, but most of them can. Oh, changes. This wasn't a good place where one of the characters is like, Whenever I have a problem, I throw a Molotov cocktail at it, and now I've got a different problem. Right, we need a power bracelet. Come back here later. Face reveal. I've streamed with my camera on before. It's not a reveal. Hold on, here's the real face reveal. Wait. This is a fake one. This is like my VTuber avatar. But if I turn my real face reveal on, bam, that's me. Face revealed. To be fair, I don't know the last time I did actually stream with my camera on. Hey, he's a skeleton man. To get back to all me makes and dig ship free. Oh, there's pirates! Captain said, don't come back till you find my bell. Where you find a bell from? Get into the desert. I did give a warning. Yeah, you might be right actually. It has been a while since I actually had the camera on. A lot of it's just laziness. I don't mind having my camera on. Let's use up all our seeds born in these and get a heart. That was definitely worth it. Oh god, oh god, oh god. Yeah, true. It's horrible. A temple like fell into Subrosia. What's a temple? Subrosia is a secret place. I forgot about the Subrosians, they're pretty cool. Oh. Let's return a secret without being seen. Oh, I guess we just have to actually straight up follow her. This is gonna replay that every time. Oh, it's this. It's like a... It's a stealth thing. I might have had it on for portable ops. I should really get back to portable ops. Okay, it's just the camera just kind of made me not want to play it more. I'm a stealth master. We're playing Metal Gear right now though. I do like they just make sure you can see she's carrying just like this giant key. Oh damn it, that was a trick. She came back. Oh, I bet I have to redo all that again. I got caught out. Well, over here, what's over here? Nowhere we can go. Oh god. Bushes. Soil. Oh, I came to the revelation about these seeds as well, which might have been before you guys raided. They're called gacha seeds. When you grow them, they grow into like big acorns that you crack open and they have like a random item inside them. So it's clearly meant to be like a gacha kind of pun, almost. That's a lot of liquids. I'm not going down there. Let's see. Alright, let's not fall for the trick this time. I think I even streamed 4 blocks. There was Metroid. I guess I didn't have the camera on for the entirety of Crystal Bears, though, you're right. Oh, that's not. Oh. We're here. Alright, they only come out once. Mistake here was expecting my memory hold up. Yeah, to be fair, it's also like not an important thing to remember. The Broja, I forgot there's like this entire underground area. The East Plaza. Oh, strange clothes. I think we get a ring at some point. It might be optional, but we get a ring at some point that lets us dress up as these guys. Let's go this way first, because east is the actual way we have to go. Volcano's been acting up because of the temple. Hot springs and dance hall. My kind of place. Lava bath is the best thing after practicing the Subrosian dance. I don't think Link can take a lava bath. Nope. It's actual lava. Okay. Good dancers get a prize. We're about to practice. Would you like to dance with us? I mean, yeah. Of course. Yeah. One do, step right. One da, step left. One D, hold a pose. Yeah, we're dancing for Din. Do daddy. Don't mess up or bump into people near you. Got it. Yeah. This is gonna be terrible. Oh, we need to wait for the thing. 1, 2, blah. Right, left, bar. Left, left, left. Right, right, left. You're pretty good. I'm definitely not your best dancer today. I fucked up those first two pretty badly. Oh shit, I got a boomerang though. That's pretty good. Is there like any additional prizes for this? Let's try one more time just in case. You never know. Nope. Left, right, right. Oh, what? I had the wrong button. He booted me out for not being good enough at dancing. Then would be disappointed in us. Let's try again. I bet I don't get anything for doing it a second time, but I would like to see. It's fun that it's randomized though. If you did really like it, you could just keep doing it. I mean, it's pretty simple. You're pretty good. You're our best dancer today. Here's your prize. 4 chunks. I don't know what those even are. Is that like a currency for down here? Okay, can't go that way. You can do the subversion dance, well, you can get a boomerang. Yeah, I did. Right here. Yeah. Grab items, hit switches, and stun beasts. Yes, boomerangs do all that. It's true. Ore chunks at a temple. But what are ore chunks? Yeah, key for that. The volcano's going nuts. The finest work in the land, but we take on only jobs that interest us. So far it seems like you only make shovels. Wait, what? Two in the back are masters of the trade, I'm just a manager, but